Hey everyone, happy Labor Day weekend. Well, at this point, Labor Day weekend's over. Welcome, and thank you for downloading another episode of the Retro Gamers. Larry here.
And Anthony here.
Ant, you sound tired.
I'm not tired. What are you talking about?
Oh wait, I'm the one that's extremely tired. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm just keeping a lower volume because I have a guest here.
Oh, okay. keeping it at a lower register.
But voices can do that. They go up and down in volume, with the exception of yours.
Yeah, no, I'm always loud. At work, actually, people would complain because when I talk on the phone, I actually talk loud. Like, I purposely yell because I want to make sure the person on the other side of the phone hears me, and that has caused issues at work where
Nice.
It's just too loud. Like, even one time we used to have pre-recorded intros if you called in.
Yeah.
So we didn't have to say the same thing over and over and over again. And I was on like three people's intros because I was so loud in the background.
Oh my god, that's terrible.
Oh,
and makes sense. Well, I'll just let you know that when I get fitted for my first hearing aid, the bill's coming to you.
Works. I'll see what I can do on that. I'm the tired one. We played last night. We played Friday the 13th on Xbox One, and I didn't stop playing until about 12:30, and then from that point on, I was just up and wide awake.
Oh yeah, and see, when I play on my side, it's not so bad because when we finished, it was 9:30.
Exactly, and fun game though. I actually had a lot more fun that time around playing than the first time we played. Probably because it was the first time we played.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, I think this time around we were actually better.
Yeah, well, most of us were.
So, yeah, well, most of us were.
And
sorry, Frank.
Yeah, Frank from the better half didn't fare so well, but he's learning.
Yeah, it just takes time.
The best.
I did enjoy though snapping his neck.
Yep. Yeah, that's always fun.
Yes.
What I really liked, and I knew what happened was because there was so many glitches and issues with Friday the 13th, what they did was the company released a skin, if you will, for Jason that's 8-bit Jason. I mean, he's not 8-bit. I think it would be awesome if he was actually 8-bit in the game.
Oh, yeah, that would be funny.
But it's the color scheme, that horrible purple color scheme. So that's accessible in the game. But what I didn't realize when I was playing yesterday, I thought was awesome while I was cowardly hiding underneath the bed for 20 minutes, is when 8-bit Jason comes near you, it plays the 8-bit music from Friday the 13th, the NES game, which I thought was awesome.
Yeah, that was great for me too because I was confused because I'm like, wait, is the game glitching? Is something wrong with the music? No, it's Jason and he killed me because I just had no idea what was going on.
So kudos to the makers of Friday the 13th, the game, for adding that little nuance to it. Very, very good.
Yeah, it was a nice touch. It was definitely a nice touch.
Other than that, my Labor Day weekend's slow and steady and quiet, which I absolutely love. So,
well, lucky you.
Yes.
Mine is loud and obnoxious and busy. I have my cousin Mike, who you met at the you've met him before.
Yeah.
Well, but he was at the Retro Gaming Expo. Mm-hmm. He's visiting LA for the first time.
Oh wow! Okay.
So I'm trying to show him around. The little snafu with that is that we're dealing with triple digits in terms of temperature,
rough.
And it's just gross outside. And not only are we dealing with triple digit weather, we're also dealing with humidity, which is foreign here in LA. So we don't usually get. We don't usually get a lot of humidity.
No, I was going to say, isn't like half of LA on fire right now anyway?
Yes, and actually, when I go outside, I can see it.
God!
Which is very reassuring.
Man.
I am getting texts from people asking me if I'm safe.
Oh well, be safe.
Yes, as of this recording, I am.
Good.
We'll see
good.
we'll see what happens by the time this episode drops.
Well, by the time we're done recording.
by the time we're done recording, I'll be like, Larry, we're gonna have to cut this short because I gotta evacuate. So
as you're running with your laptop, being the professional that you are, still recording.
Exactly. Yes, I'll be talking about retro video games as you see the fires in the background.
It's like people leave. I can joke about it. I know you can't. No. Never mind. So
let's leave it there. But
save your games.
But yeah. So anyway, my cousin's here. He's visiting. So I'm trying to do things with him while trying to stay indoors as much as possible because it's so damn hot. So we hit up Hollywood Boulevard yesterday, and I showed him all 2 blocks of that famous area.
Short, yeah.
What?
It's a short area, yeah.
Oh, it's a very short area. And then I took him over to Game Dude.
Oh, sweet.
Yep. Actually, we went to Amoeba Music and then Game Dude.
Oh.
Because Amoeba is one of the other great famous places that I love going shopping.
Okay.
And I wound up buying like 30 comic books and one Xbox 360 game. I think, but in Retro Honor, it was the Namco Classics game.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Which was really cool. I'm sorry, not 360. Original Xbox.
So wow.
Original Xbox.
Yeah,
and because their used games there are pretty cheap, so I got it for like $5.
Not bad at all.
Then we hit up Game Dude because I wanted to show him that place, and he loved it.
Mm-hmm.
And I wound up, and of course I couldn't leave Game Dude without buying something.
What'd you get?
So for the original NES,
mm-hmm.
I picked up Gauntlet.
Okay.
Gauntlet 2.
All right.
And Solomon's Key.
Oh, nice.
I love that game.
That is such a sleeper hit. Like, I don't think a lot of people know about it.
No, I know. It's such a great game. It's for people who don't know Solomon's Key, it's a puzzle game.
Mm-hmm.
And it's basically you basically escape the room kind of game, and there are different challenges. But you have to find a key to open the door, and basically go through the door. But there are all types of obstacles in your way that you need to overcome. It's just a really great game. I never beat it.
No, neither have I. I never come close to it.
Yeah, and it's on. Is it on the?
It's on the Famicom, the mini Famicom. Yeah,
it's on the mini Famicom, which is awesome. But I wanted the original NES.
Oh yeah, I don't blame it.
As I continue to build my collection,
I don't blame it. It's also available on the Virtual Console. I downloaded it for on the Wii Virtual Console. But you're right. There's something about having the original cartridge, which I'll talk about in a moment, which is really really sweet.
Definitely cool. And let's not talk about Wiis because my anger for Nintendo just increases with every waking moment.
Did you just get a Wii?
Yes, I did get a Wii. I got a Wii, and I ordered it off of Amazon Warehouse.
Okay.
Which Amazon, it still has the Amazon guarantee.
Nice.
So I ordered a Wii, and I never owned a Wii. Like the Wii is the best-selling console of all time. And it was one of the only systems I never owned because I didn't like the concept of standing in my living room with a controller and playing a game like bouncing around my living room.
Not every game, but I hear you. Yep. I hear you.
Well, it's kind of how I felt when I got the Kinect for 360, and I used it maybe twice because I'm like, okay, I don't want to do this. I just want a controller in my hand. So anyway, I finally bought a Wii because I wanted to play some games on the Wii, and I want to get the regular, controller to play them. But
of course,
Wii gets here. No controller.
Oh, wow.
And it was guaranteed to come with a controller.
Whoa, oops.
So I contact Amazon, and 30 minutes later, after being put on hold, they gave me a $10 refund.
Honestly, that's what they do. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, so they gave me $10 to go out and get they're like, here's $10. Go get your own damn controller. Great, thank you. So I bought one at I bought one at Game Dude, but the used controllers were like $20, but then they had third-party new controllers for $25.
Whoa.
So I'm like, okay. Oh, and the used ones were like $20, but only for like the controller, not the nunchuck.
Oh, so okay, I gotcha.
But then for $25, they had a third-party one that you got the whole thing.
Yeah.
But the problem with the third-party one was that they were like metallic colored.
Ooh.
So it was like you can get metallic silver or blue or pink, and I'm looking at them and I'm like, God, I can almost see my reflection in these.
Yeah,
things.
those are a little rough. I can't believe they're still expensive, those controllers.
I know. So I bought the metallic silver.
Anyway,
so that was my Wii experience, and even when, which is funny too, because we've been complaining about Nintendo for a while the last couple of weeks.
Well,
even when I'm buying something not directly from Nintendo, I'm still getting screwed by Nintendo because I did not get a controller in my friggin' box. And then to top it all off this week, as if Nintendo hasn't wronged us all enough, my Wii U experienced what apparently, after doing some research, I found is called the black screen of death.
And I've never heard of that for the Wii U.
Never heard of it either until it happened.
Until you, oh my gosh.
Yeah, so black screen of death on the Wii U is just my Wii U turns on, my the controller, the gamepad, whatever, that turns on and I get a screen, but no video shows up on the TV. And when I try to play a game through the gamepad, it can't connect to the console anymore.
Oh,
so the controllers don't connect to the console, and there's no video on the screen. So now I have to contact Nintendo and see how much it'll cost to repair it, and then they'll give me a price, and then I'll be like, yeah, I can buy one brand new for that price. So screw you.
Make sure you have a toothbrush with you.
Yes. Oh God, that was the stupidest thing ever. My Switch controller is not working. Sir, do you have a toothbrush?
In general, yes.
I do, but not for what I think you want me to do.
And what I'm going to tell you to do with it.
Exactly. So it hasn't been a great Nintendo week.
No, it's been rough for you.
I am happy to report that the Game Dude games I bought all work.
Good. Excellent.
And the other thing I also find humor is Nintendo was always Nintendo was always famous for consoles with longevity. I mean, I put those 3 NES games in my original Nintendo from the 80s that I still have. Like, I've had it for over 30 years. Put them in my original Nintendo, and it takes a little, a little maneuvering, blowing into it, whatever it is, and all the games work fine. Ironically enough, I don't have to push the cartridge down into the Nintendo. They just sit up.
Really?
And they work. Yeah, I have no idea why. But,
oh, man.
But regardless of that, the games work, right?
Yeah, man.
And I've never had an issue with the Super Nintendo, never had an issue with the N64 or my GameCube, but now the new systems, the Switch, controller problems, the Wii U, black screen of death. Okay, like, I don't know what's going on, but the problems. That's the problem. Nintendo's starting to join the ranks of Microsoft in that red ring of death.
Oh.
Speaking of, why do I get all the death?
Yeah, your systems suck.
Yeah, well, the Xbox was your fault.
Hey, that did not happen under my watch.
Yeah, well, that was your system. You gave it to me, and not even a week later, it was dead.
At the point of purchase, it was no longer my system.
Yeah, most people have a warranty, so I should have returned it to your ass.
Hey, you won out on that one. You ended up getting a new Xbox anyway.
That's actually true. I did win out. Brand new Xbox. Thank you, Larry.
You're welcome. See, that's what friends do.
But yeah, I mean, Nintendo systems aren't as durable as they used to be. I think they're all starting to slowly go the way of the Virtual Boy.
That could be the case. Let's face
their
facts.
haphazard crapness.
What? I wouldn't say that, but you're right. The longevity. I think it's because it's not all those optics and stuff. With the Nintendo, the Super Nintendo, it's just hardware. It's just pure hardware. And I bought the NES at the Expo, and I think whoever sold it to me. And I'm not complaining. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. But I get, it sounds like they worked on it or felt like it worked on it. It must have been new connectors maybe because when I tried to put the cartridge in, it was very, just difficult to get in, extremely difficult to get out. And it just really wasn't working that well. And that could be through time just naturally. But this Retron HD that I bought from Amazon for like $40 is amazing.
Do tell.
I will, because I even used it yesterday.
I know you will.
Yeah, the Retron 1.8 Retrons have been around for a while, a few years now, and they've been known to be these like multi-cart systems that would play, like the first one you were able to play Nintendo and Super Nintendo, then Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Genesis, and then so on and so forth. And then the Retron 5 came out, which played almost everything that wasn't CD-based. Sure, yes. TurboGrafx. But this one went back, and it was kind of a result of the NES Classic and the problems it had with availability. The Retron HD1 is an HDMI NES system, basically, because the patent for the NES systems, actually a patent for a lot of these systems, ran out. So companies are legally allowed to make them now. And what it is, it plays off the cartridge. You know, a lot of these systems, you put the cartridge in, but it still rips
the downloads.
It rips the ROM and turns. Yeah. So you're not really playing on the cartridge anymore. But this system, for only $40, still plays off the cartridge. And not only that, the games look crystal clear because of the HD hookup. Yesterday, I played Contra. I live streamed Contra, which you can find on the Facebook page, facebook.com/RetroGamersPodcast. Mm-hmm. And my goal was, Contra was the first game I've ever beaten, period. But admittedly, back then I used the Konami code. So after all these years, finally getting the game again at the expo, I figured, let me now try and beat the game regular, without the Konami code. And that's what I set out to do. And amazingly, I found it easier to beat that game than I did Super C. And
really?
They're both... Super C took me like almost an hour. Maybe a little over an hour to beat. This one, I haven't played this Contra in a long, long time. Super C, at least I had virtual consoles and everything, even before the NES Classic came out. Mm. But Contra, this one, I beat it in... Granted, I did a practice run before I streamed, but even then, I didn't beat it then. But this one I beat in about less than 40 minutes.
Ah, that's awesome.
Oh, no, it was cool. And again, it was old school. I used maybe 3 continues. Which was good, because I didn't have to, circle back. I didn't use so many continues that I circled back, to the beginning of the game. And it's just as difficult, don't get me wrong, as it was before. But being able to beat the game on the original cartridge, not my original cartridge, but an original, maybe my original cartridge, who knows?
Yeah, you never know.
Was just, it just brought me back to when I first beat it when I was 6 or 7. Maybe 7 or 8, actually. And then I remember I was so hyped up by beating it, we ended up getting pizza that night, which was the specialty thing in my house.
Celebratory thing.
It was. I was also all hyped up and everything. Oh my god, it was like I was on speed. I was so happy. But this Retron...
Well, that's because you never beat games normally. Usually you just walk away from them halfway.
I was 8 at the time, but now, and you know what's funny you say that? I'm starting to beat more games. I beat Mega Man on Game Boy recently, so now I'm starting to actually take my time and start to beat these games.
Well, that only took 30 years.
There may be some more live playthroughs. But going back to this Retron, if you don't have a Nintendo, but for some reason you have Nintendo games, or even if you have a Nintendo, in all honesty, and you just want something a little bit more modern, for $40... There's a black console and a gray console. The gray console is more expensive, probably because it's kind of the same color scheme as the original NES. But even at $50, this thing is so well worth purchasing, because you can hook it up through HDMI. You can hook it up through AV cable if you need to. Mm-hmm. You can set it to NTSC, to PAL. Again, 720 output. It's just... Oh, and one more thing. It comes with a controller, obviously, but... It will, and I haven't tested yet, I should, it will take and use original NES controllers.
Oh, that's cool.
So, and probably NES peripherals at that point. If I can find
my question is, what's the difference between, I'm assuming the difference is, between the Retron 1, mm-hmm. The Retron 3 plays NES, Super NES, and Genesis, but is it, that one's not HD, is that composite?
Yeah, I think this is the first one. Well, maybe the Retron 5 was HDMI, but those early ones definitely were not HDMI as far as I know.
Okay.
The HDMI makes it a world of difference.
Because for a while I was looking at the Retron 5
mm-hmm.
because you can play 10 different systems on it.
Oh yeah, a ton of them.
And I thought that was awesome because it's like, okay, I just have to have that hooked up. And that was before I decided to do, my retro game collecting. And now I just have all my consoles out because I'm like, whatever.
Oh, of course.
I like playing them on the original systems. It's
I don't blame you.
Even though my cousin's laughing at me because like I can't get games to work like first time out. He's like, all your systems are breaking, and I'm like, I know, they're old. Leave me alone. which I basically say to people all the time when they talk to me.
What?
In general, these
days. Just like we are, we're old and we're breaking down. So are these systems.
We're old. Leave us alone. Okay, that's the motto of the retro gamers. I was itching about getting the Retron 5 for that reason, where it's just like there were, you can just play everything on it, more or less, or a lot, like 10 different retro systems, which is great.
Absolutely. The Retron 3 is S-Video or Composite AV, so it's definitely not.
Oh my God, S-Video.
Yeah, honestly.
Does anything have S-Video anymore?
I don't think I've ever even owned anything, period, with S-Video. I never saw anything originally with S-Video.
I forgot I did one thing with S-Video. I don't remember what it was, though. It might have been Sega CD.
Really? That had one?
I think so.
I'm trying.
That's okay. It took my cousin. It took my cousin yesterday to remind me that the original NES has composite on it.
It does.
I completely forgot. Yeah, I have it hooked up to my TV with the old school like through the antenna cable thing.
Well,
he's like, oh no, He's like, no. He's like, they have composite on the side. I was like, yeah. I was like, duh. I was like, completely forgot about that.
That's what I did. I went out and I bought a composite cable for the NES that I bought from the show.
Yep.
And that's how I ended up hooking it up.
And by the way, you'll be happy to know because I'm desperately searching for selectors because I have so many systems hooked up. There is an 8-in-1 composite selector.
Really?
On Amazon, which is going into my basket today. Because it's funny. I counted my systems on what would need composite, and and of course I came up with 9.
Of course.
But still, 8-in-1.
No, that's huge. That's literally huge.
And it was only, I think, $20 or $30.
Oh, it's not bad at all.
Nope. So I will be purchasing that today.
Good. It's those HDMI switches. Those are the humps to find that work properly.
It's not that they're bad. It's not that they're hard to find. It's just that they're expensive.
No, they're expensive, which is understandable, but I can't find one that just, like, they're all, like, automatic switches. We've talked about this before. They all automatically switch, and the systems nowadays, like, they're always on, pretty much. So there's always a little bit of juice flowing through the HDMI which would cause the switch, not the Nintendo Switch, but the HDMI switch, to change to another system, like in the middle of watching something. It's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know, and it's, and then every time I want to, like, turn on a system, I have to go to the HDMI switch and fix it because whatever system is the dominant one with the most juice,
exactly.
It automatically sits on that one until you turn on the other system.
Is this another complaint for you for Nintendo that we can't even talk about an HDMI switch without calling it an HDMI switch now?
Yeah, you know what? Nintendo can go to hell.
This
is just a general blanket statement until they clean up their act.
I guess we're not going to the Nintendo World Championships.
You know what? That was already established for me when I went to the qualifier last week.
The Retron 5.
And besides, I'm closer to Seattle, so I can go to Nintendo headquarters.
This is true.
And start complaining to them, and then they'll probably offer me a job.
And then Donkey Kong will come out and just throw you out.
Yeah, no, he'll throw a barrel at me.
Just to answer your question from earlier.
That's how you get to the president's office. You go up.
Reggie Fils-Aimé.
You go up every floor of the NES headquarters with barrels getting thrown at you. Oh, we don't have elevators. We have ladders. What?
Some weird gear system. The Retron. For some
reason, his wife stands on a platform all day.
The Retron 5, just to answer your question, is HDMI compatible. And it also has this cool adapter for it. So not only does it play like the 10 or so systems already, you can buy an adapter to add 3 more systems to it because you can get an adapter that will play Game Gear, Master System, and Master System card games.
Ooh.
So, and that's right from Retron. From Hyperkin is actually the name of the company.
Yeah.
Holy cow, but that thing's $100. That's more expensive than the Hyperkin.
Oh, it's down to 100?
This adapter, the Retron itself is like $150. But I'm looking at Hyperkin's
another
website.
Retron's $150, and that's fine with me.
They even have the Superboy. That's another one I may have to purchase.
Oh, yeah, I remember the Superboy.
Yeah, the Superboy. That they still sell that. How much is that?
I think it's
$100.
100.
All right, I can deal.
Yeah.
Way to go. So Hyperkin's going to be the way to go if you don't have the the old systems, or you can't find an properly working system. Hyperkin's doing it good, man, with these systems, and I will preach to the end. Wow, look at that monster. I'm looking at the composite Switch 8-in-1. That is just a lot.
Isn't it beautiful?
It is good. It truly is. That is a thing of beauty, especially the way the front looks too.
Yeah, I'm signing into Amazon as we speak, so I can order it.
Make sure
if I don't do it right now, I'm gonna forget.
Make sure you get the 4-year protection.
4 years?
Hey, you never know.
Who do they think they are? Nintendo? I don't need 4-year protection.
They have a 5-port HDMI switch. Let's see. It's an automatic.
Man, yeah, it's all now, like, especially if you have all these consoles, it's all about getting splitters. It's like, how big can a splitter be so I can get my stupid thing, all my systems hooked up?
Automatic decoding. Yeah, that's not going to work. Sorry. All right. Well,
So I'm very happy your Retron 1 HD 1 is functional.
Yes, and not only that,
I know you have a history of systems not being functional when you buy them.
Oh, absolutely.
Mine take a little while before they break. And also, I'm really happy to hear that it's that solid of a system. Now, the big question is, before we move on from this topic, is do you have to blow into the cartridge to get it to work?
No. Well, to be fair, when I read like a couple years ago, it was detrimental to the system to blow into the cartridge. I stopped doing that. So in all honesty, what I do is if a cartridge isn't working properly, I mean, I know I'm supposed to get alcohol with it, but I just get a Q-tip and just vigorously rub the connectors, and most of the time it works. I've been staying away from blowing into it. I try to make that a habit in my life.
After what you just explained, I'm really happy everybody knows when they listen that this is about retro gaming. Because that explanation could have gone that could have been interpreted a completely different way. Just saying.
But also the Retron, I haven't actually. It's funny. The one time so far that the game didn't really boot up properly was when I was trying to try a game to test out right for one of our segments here, and all it really did was just gave just a black screen. That was it. I just popped it out, put it back in, and it started working again. So it even, I think, cuts back on a lot of that issues that may have been a result of the system.
Oh, okay.
So
that's awesome.
Absolutely. The controller is comfortable.
I may have to get one of those.
The controller is cool because the controller is pretty much the same size as an NES controller. I guess they designed it a little differently to stay away from copyright. Yeah, because the bottom corners, design-wise, are kind of like cut out. It's a little weird to explain, but it's cool. But on the back of it are like these two, almost like grips on the back of the controller. I'm sorry, I'm slightly distracted because I'm hearing helicopters nearby. Oh, boy.
We may have to record faster.
What? All right. Well, this is going to be a hell of an episode down the road.
Here come the flames.
Yes, honestly. So the controller is really ergodynamic as well, I guess, if that's a word. So,
I believe it is. And in the meantime, I'm sending you information on a 5-port HDMI switcher, which has a remote, so that way you don't have to climb behind your TV to switch the damn thing.
Does it automatically switch? Why won't it let me open this link? Oh, there it goes.
Well, see, to me, it doesn't matter if it automatically switches.
Oh, that was what I was just looking at.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if it automatically switches to me as long as I have a remote, because for me, I always put the switch, the splitter behind the television because I don't want it hanging out. So
okay, this thing is normally $100 and it's on sale for $19.
Yeah, which is why I want to buy it.
So good luck on that one.
Hey, it's got a 4-star review. That's good enough.
It does. No, it's the
650 customer reviews. That's pretty solid.
Be careful. Even I've had ones with the remotes. They still switch sometimes automatically, so just be careful of that.
I will live with that.
All right. And with that being said, go to Amazon, look up the Hyperkin Retron HD1 or HD or 1HD, whatever it's called. Definitely purchase one. It is well worth it, and trust me when I tell you, even if you have an NES, it's just a nice upgrade. It's a safe upgrade, and you're gonna absolutely love it. Not only that, it worked perfectly with the streaming device that I use when I streamed yesterday for Contra. And it just hooked right up because of the HDMI, and it was beautiful. So go out to Amazon and check it out. And let us know what you think. Put your posts, put your comments at the Retro Gamers Facebook page, even at Instagram, at @the_Retro Gamers, because I have a picture of my Retron on there. And let me hear what you say if you have one, even if with the old other Retrons. Let us know what it's all about. And you will bring your old gaming into the present.
All right, so we're going to move on to this week's Wacky Retro game.
Yay. And, I like this segment. This is a fun segment.
Yay! And Larry, I know it's Superhero September,
yes.
Right? So we're going to be doing live stream for Superhero September. So I thought a great Wacky Retro game would be for this week to do something superhero related.
Okay.
And I'm not talking the general, like the Marvel DC kind of games, because they're not necessarily wacky. I'm talking about something that was completely created on its own. So this week's Wacky Retro game is called Captain Novolin.
Yes, I've played this.
So Captain Novolin was released on the Super Nintendo in 1992. It is an educational platform video game starring a superhero, Captain Novolin, who just so happens to have type 1 diabetes.
I don't know why I find that funny.
The game uses because you don't hear that about video games.
No, not at all.
The game uses a 2D side-scrolling gameplay, and the concept is Captain Novolin is the only one who can stop the evil aliens known as Blubberman, and rescue the diabetic mayor of Pineville, who was kidnapped by the aliens. Now, throughout the game, Captain Novolin has to avoid the alien invaders, who appear to him as junk food items like bouncing cookies and donuts. And what Captain Novolin has to do is he has to eat healthy meals to keep his blood glucose within a safe zone. Now, the character can die if his blood glucose level goes too high or low.
Does he lose a foot first?
And then on top of that, players can earn bonus points by correctly answering questions that relate to diabetes.
Oh, I forgot about that part. No, I never got far.
In addition, the game actually has a feature where a diabetic player can specify the frequency of their real-life insulin injections. So it was 100% completely made with diabetic kids in mind. However, just the whole concept of that, I think, qualified for this week's Wacky Retro game. So Captain Novolin is your this week's superhero Wacky Retro game.
All right, Ant, we're gonna touch on a subject here that I think can be.
Well, before we touch on that, though, I know I just talked about that a Wacky Retro game, but I just wanted to give a shout out to our favorite listener and diabetic, Frankie,
our own Captain Novolin.
Our own Captain Novolin. Now, I hope Frankie is listening, because what I want him to do is I want to give him some homework, and I want him to develop a Captain Novolin costume that he can wear for Halloween this year.
I was just in my head. I'm like, he better go to Comic-Con now as Captain Novolin.
That would be awesome, because nobody would understand what it is except him.
Actually, he won't even understand what it is.
Well, no, he'll understand that because he listens to our podcast, so he's going to hear this week.
I love you, Frankie. Don't worry.
Love you, Frankie. Love you, Captain Novolin.
Oh, my God. Well, we're going to... I think we have to... I think it's time... We're episode... What is this? Episode 58? 59?
Yeah, something like that.
We're episode 58, yeah. So there is a topic that we've been... we've broached a couple of times, but I think maybe because talking about the Retron, which kind of sort of falls... Not mine, but kind of sort of falls in this realm... emulators. And emulators are really... They've been around forever, but I feel like as of late, they've really been picking up steam because people have been modding, turning it... Well, I guess emulator modding, same thing. Have been modding these NES classics to load up the entire NES library.
Well, yeah, and I think that was one of the main reasons why the NES Classic, the production of it was halted. I don't think it was necessarily Nintendo saying, "Oh, we were only planning a limited run" and everything like that. I think once the word got out that people were able to mod these things easily, and I mean super easy. Like I saw stuff online where people are like, "Oh, I have all 800 NES games on my NES Classic now," and it's like
done in like 10 minutes.
Yeah, and it just takes a few minutes. So I think that was one of the main reasons why they halted production, because the whole point was they were trying to make money selling 30 games, not 800.
Yeah, true. But emulators are around, and let's make it official first. Let's our stand on emulators. We, as the retro gamers, we love that old school gaming, but we love not only the collecting of the cartridges and the systems, but there's just something about playing it. And I can compare it to the Virtual Console, which is a legal emulator. But I have Super Mario Brothers on 19 different versions, most of which are Virtual Consoles. But now with this Retron, I've been playing it off the cart.
Yep. No, I'm with you on that. I mean, there's a reason why the area behind my television is a complete fire hazard, because I love playing my old consoles. I mean, emulators have been around for a while. I mean, I don't remember the first system that was able to be modded. I think I go back to I want to say it's like the Xbox.
I think so.
I think the Xbox was the first one that ever got modded, where people were able to put emulated games on it. But
because it was the first one with a hard drive.
Right, but be that as it may, it's the whole point about and to be honest though, retro gaming has only really started to, I think, become a thing in the U.S. over the last few years.
We talked about that a few weeks ago. Yeah,
we talked about that a few weeks ago. So, and when I say the last few years, I'm talking about people actually going out and buying the original games.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
It's just becoming a thing now, and that's probably and I say it's because our generation now is at that point in time where it's we played all these games as kids, and they were all new and exciting and everything like that. We're older now. We have money to burn. And it's just a nostalgia effect. So, and we're starting to respect the aspect of the original gaming consoles and cartridges, which is why we're all,
mm-hmm.
People our age are starting to retro game so much. Emulators are always the easy shortcut version to doing that. And the cheaper version to doing that.
Oh, absolutely.
But to your point, I mean, there's nothing better. I'm sorry, there's nothing better. Like I said, yesterday, my cousin was laughing at me because I was struggling to get a cartridge to work, and he's like, "You need to buy a new system." And I'm like, "No." I was like, "I want to play it on my original system with my original cartridge." I'm like, "I will sit here and do the work to get this thing to work so that I can play it on my TV that I bought 2 years ago, that this system has no right to be hooked up to."
This system never knew what it was. That makes a very good point. With the Retron, my Retron, that's why I feel like that's a good substitute for the NES, because it plays off the cartridge. But then you have the prior Retron, the Retron 5, which that's a little different. That doesn't play. Let me back up for a second. There's only two Nintendo systems, quote unquote, I'll call them, that play from the cartridge like the original Nintendo did. That's this Hyperkin Retron and the I'm going to remember it in a second. AVS, that's what it's called. AVS, Retro USB puts it out. It's $185, so no offense to Retro USB, but you're probably better off with the Hyperkin.
I would say $185, $40.
So those are the only two that really play off the cartridge. Where the Retron 5, what it does is you put the cartridge in. You have to put the cartridge in, but then it rips the ROM from it and then stores it. So it's like playing an emulator, but see, legally speaking, to play a game on an emulator, you are allowed to own an emulated game if you have the cartridge for it. And that's Correct. What Retron 5 did. Obviously, you own the cartridge because you're putting it into the system, and then it just rips it, and then it plays off almost like the memory card. But with the NES Classic, and I remember back in the day, a lot of people had the first emulator system I remember people playing in college. I think it was called Nesticle.
Nesticle for NES games.
Yep. Yeah. Because NES was the one that really got emulated. Not even Super Nintendo. I just remember it being Nintendo.
Well, no, you know what's funny? I think the first one I remember somebody playing was called MAME, because it emulated arcade games that you could not buy on a console.
I think that's still going today.
Is it?
MAME, yeah.
Wow. That's cool. Because I remember hanging out with a friend who will remain nameless for legal reasons. But went over to his house and we I wound up playing the X-Men arcade game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So. Yeah, and I loved that game, and as soon as that was released on Xbox Live, I downloaded that like the first day.
Yeah,
love that game. But MAME was the first one that I remember encountering. But they became so popular and so big. But of course, you always got to deal with the legal issues with that.
Yeah, and look, I get it. I know people aren't really knocking down the doors. There's not this huge FBI crackdown on it, but still, it's just the what's the word I'm looking for? You're better with this. Talking
about the moral.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you.
Moral issue.
That part of it, yeah.
Well, but people aren't as moral as we are, Larry.
This is true.
And
not as moral as you.
And I was just going to say, let me rephrase that. People aren't as moral as you.
What? Well.
My morality's taken a dip since Catholic school.
Oh, well, if you listen to the better half, you'll know what's going on with me.
Oh, I'm afraid to ask.
So, and again,
anyway.
it ultimately, for me, emulators ultimately goes back to the original feel of the gameplay, the original, having to almost, it's weird having to get up, put the cartridge in, go back to the seat, start playing. Having that physical, tangible item in front of you.
Yep.
Plus, also, I hate playing on the PC or the Mac, and the controllers just aren't. I mean, yes, they have like NES USB controllers, Super Nintendo USB controllers, but even before those, when you just had like regular controllers for the computer, I just couldn't play those with an emulator. Even now, usually I feel weird playing an NES game with like the Wii remote. Thank God the NES Classics controller plugs into the Wii, and you can use it to play Virtual Console NES games.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's why I'm looking forward to this. If I can get my hands on the Super NES Classic, that controller should also work with the Virtual Console with Super Nintendo games.
Well, don't worry. If you ever come visit me, I'll let you play mine.
Oh, well, it does come with 2 controllers. Maybe I'll buy one off you.
Well, maybe, for a price.
So, yeah, with emulators, and, we know people with emulators. A roommate of mine has a whole Xbox you were talking about, full of emulators.
Oh, the modded Xbox, yeah.
I've seen them, raffled off. The Wii's been modded. I actually heard the Wii's been modded successfully.
I have a friend who has a modded Wii.
Yeah.
But here's my question, and it goes back to what you're talking about with the Retrons and stuff. Mm-hmm. Now, I have to assume those companies got the right to create these consoles from Nintendo.
Oh,
because if you know what I mean, because and Sega and whatnot, because if they haven't, they wouldn't be up for sale.
Here's the thing. I think I mentioned it before. What happens is, I can speak especially for the Nintendo, and I think it's the same thing for the other ones, though maybe not so much for the Genesis, because we've seen the Genesis come out with the At Games Genesis that takes cartridges, so I'm sure Sega's working with them. But Nintendo, the patent, it's all about the patents. The patent ran out on the NES. Nintendo never reclaimed the patent on the original Nintendo Entertainment System.
So you're basically saying we could make our own version of Retron and sell it.
Absolutely, because once that patent runs out, it's fair game.
Larry, just imagine that. The Retro Gamers console.
I think we're better off teaming up with Hyperkin just to get a little scratch off of it.
Well, no, I would want the Retro Gamers game then.
Oh my God! Can you imagine what that would be like?
You're the princess taken prisoner, and I have to save the day.
What? I think we need to go over the outline on that.
Nope. Nope. Concepts are already locked in. I'm trademarking it now.
We have. It's quicker trademark than anything else we've done.
But all right. So because the patent ran out, they can. Well, what's interesting though is that I can't imagine these companies letting patents run out on their system, especially Nintendo, of all the companies in the world. I would not expect Nintendo to let a patent expire.
I mean, how much is it? I know they're a big, giant conglomerate, but I guess the price of a patent versus plus when it ran out, they probably figured, who cares?
Apparently, well, I mean, I guess, but
and maybe it'll go back
because they're still. You know what it is too, and this is probably where it makes sense. They're not making these original systems. I was
just going to say that.
Yeah, they're not making these systems anymore, so they're not making any money. Like, if anybody buys an NES console, they don't get a dime of it. So I guess it doesn't necessarily matter. If anything, and maybe this is the answer. People who are buying these retro consoles will now go out and buy the original games. So it just keeps
the thing.
Keeps them in Nintendo's pocket in a way.
Exactly. Well, I mean, I don't. Well, no. Hold on.
Nope. They don't get money from
exactly, because that's all being sold to flea markets and stuff. So it's really, and I don't even think like the original companies with these games probably don't even, half of them don't even exist anymore. So, and you know what?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Let me ask you about that. So let me ask you this. So from the legality point of view, if you own the cartridge, you can play the emulator. I don't know the theory behind it, but that's the case. So with these companies that are gone or just no longer exist, technically, could you play those emulators without any worry? And I know, yes, look, we know, like I said, the cops aren't breaking down the door, but still, it's just, it's a thought.
I know. I mean, emulator legalities have been a big question for years now. I mean, you go back to, and it goes beyond video games. I mean, I think Napster was probably the first biggest one to deal with, the legalities of this stuff.
Friend of mine from Napster, a friend of mine got an email from Dr. Dre saying, "Stop downloading my music."
Are you serious?
That is the God honest truth.
That's awesome. But, obviously the difference with music is that, like, they always hold the rights in perpetuity. So, but what, or at least for what, as long as they keep renewing it. But what I was saying was, what was I saying? What I was saying what happened was, no, I'm literally lost my train of thought as we were talking about this because you threw me off with Dr. Dre.
That tends to happen.
Well, God damn you, Dr. Dre. Foiled again. So, yeah, Napster, legal. Yeah, and like with all of these old...
talking about companies that are out of business.
The companies that are out. Yeah, the companies that are... Well, see, it would be the company that would come after you. So, I mean, I would think that it would be okay to play those because the company is no longer in existence. However, in a lot of instances, when those companies went under, they usually would sell the rights and their inventory to another company. So then
that's what I'm thinking.
Basically, the short answer for me is it's too much of a headache because you would have to do the research to figure out, okay, this company went under, who bought them, who's got the rights to the games, are they still active? And then, the minute you find out that somebody else owns it, you can't play it.
Yeah, true.
I mean, it's that simple. So I would just go out on a limb and say the answer is no. If a developer or a publisher went out of business, no, you do not have the right to play the emulator, the emulated game, because somebody else owns it.
True. I agree with that. But
otherwise, we're missing a gold mine here. We should be going out and just, copywriting all these games that belong to companies that went under.
And now someone else will probably go and doing that. No, you're right. You're exactly right.
Frankie's doing it as we speak.
That's it. We're not going to see dime one from it.
Damn you, Captain Novolin.
So yeah, emulators, and it's funny too because I feel even with the Virtual Console, yes, I have the games, but it has not stopped me from going out and buying the cartridges. So you made a point earlier. Hopefully, even with the emulators or even with these systems, the Hyperkins, the Retrons, the AVS or whatever it was, and Hyperkin's really the only system short of At Games, the only company that I know of that's putting out these types of systems. Well, we're gonna have Polymega coming out.
Yep, and to be honest with you, I mean, At Games is not exactly the best option for your retro game shopping. They're just not. I mean, I bought one.
True.
I bought the handheld Genesis one because I was traveling back and forth to Japan a lot, and I was like, and this was before the Switch came out, so I bought that. So at least I had something to do on the plane. It wasn't that fun.
Yeah, no, and most of the games don't even work anyway on the At Games Genesis.
Yeah, so it definitely wasn't the best. And then of course, they were trying to pounce on the whole NES Classic fever by coming out with all these, these brand new At Game, the Sega Genesis flashback, which were exactly the same flashback game consoles they had on the market before.
Yeah, when we talked about it, we were like, wait, like we realized while we were talking, this is the exact same thing that they put out before.
But this does bring up something else for me. And it's not emulator related, but I'm curious to see. The Atari box has been quiet. So
that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, we need to find out what's going on with them. But anyway, so yeah, emulators,
modded systems.
Modded systems, all that stuff. Never been a fan. Will continue to not be a fan. There's something about playing the old school games, and let's face it. I get it. It's quick. It's easy. It's like I have one. You get one system with everything on it. Mm-hmm. I'm like, you also have to deal with the clutter of having the original games in a library somewhere. But at the same time, it's like, I think for the majority of people, they'll get those modded systems. How many of those games will they actually play?
You are absolutely right on that.
It's like, absolutely. I have 2,000 games on my Xbox. It would probably take me 2 hours to decide on what game to play, and then I'm going to wind up playing one of the games I've always played before anyway. So I'd rather just have the cartridge.
And I mentioned it earlier. There's just that little itty bitty something that I would be like, it's not the system. It's not, you know what I mean? It's just not it.
It doesn't feel
right.
So. Right.
But I suggest to go out. I'm going to preach to the end of time now. I'm a firm believer with the Retrons and the Hyperkin. So definitely check those out. Don't get me wrong. It'd be sweet to have all those games in one little unit, but even if I was a person to want to go out and mod my NES Classic, I would be so petrified of breaking it and not being able to get another one. That alone would stop me from modding my NES Classic.
And I'm definitely not in the mood to pay $500 for a replacement.
So
I'll basically just call Frankie up and get the other one back that I gave him. I'll give him a refund.
So to emulate or not to emulate, that's the question. Let us know your thoughts at Facebook.com/RetroGamersPodcast. Let us know what you think about emulators, and we'll follow up one day with viewer or listener comments, and we'll respond to your comments.
You do know that Nintendo has just one last thought on this. There's one thing Nintendo never has to worry about when it comes to emulators. It is virtually impossible to emulate anything Virtual Boy.
Not cool. All right, so we're back for another installment of Cheat of the Week. Need to get
what is this week's Cheat of the Week, Larry?
Swiping sound to come in. Cheat of the Week is Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, or even Punch-Out later on. Everyone knows about the Mike Tyson code, how to go straight to Mike Tyson. The input code is pretty much like a phone number. I don't know if you ever noticed that, when you first played Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, but it's 10 digits. And if you put in the following code, 800-422-2602, first of all, that number is going to sound familiar. That's Nintendo's old customer service number.
I was just about to say that reminds me of the Nintendo hotline.
Exactly, and which they brought back for a weekend when they released the NES Classic.
Correct.
They brought back that phone number. If you type in that number into the code for Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, you get a busy signal.
Are you serious?
Yep. And that's, is it a code? Is it a cheat? It's a nuance, but it's something pretty cool. Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, again, 800-422-2602. When I tried it, when I tested it, I panicked a little bit because I thought it froze up the game, but it stops after a few seconds. So check it out. It's just something fun.
That's just lunacy.
Absolutely. And so that's our kind of sort of Cheat of the Week.
All right, Larry, here we go. So, normally, we go back and forth between Retro Spotlight, Retro Reject, because all depends on the mood I'm in.
I love that.
It does.
I truly love that.
It's like this is my version of being bipolar. Okay, it's retro bipolar. Retro bipolar. So this week, I thought, considering I'm tired and there are fires all around my neighborhood and stuff going on, that this might be a good time to do a retro reject.
You may be a little moody. Okay.
Just a little moody. It's my time of the month.
Fair enough.
But it's okay. We'll get through it.
We're all in this together.
Yeah. And since we haven't talked about it a lot on this podcast, but we'll point it out since it's the first week of September. We're doing superhero games for our live streams.
Yes.
I believe you're up first, right?
Yes, this coming Wednesday, and I'll let the cat out of the bag. I am playing Batman on the original NES because I got the Hyperkin to work.
Very nice.
Yes.
Very, very nice. Yes. Great game, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and then I don't know which week I'm up, but it definitely won't be this one. But and I haven't decided which game I was going to do. But I wanted to
And we're doing it in conjunction with Josh from Victims and Villains. And I don't know if Brandon from the PS Midnight Cast will hop in on as well. But that's who we're doing it with.
Yes. So, which is always great. Josh is awesome. And, we love our crossovers and helping each other out. So, and plus, I think we're turning him into a gamer.
I think we are, and he's not going to like that in like a year from now when he spent all that money on games.
I was just going to say his pocket's not going to like it. But anyway, so this week I wanted to do a retro reject. I wanted to do something in theme with our live streams, which would be Superhero September.
Okay.
And I thought, if I'm going to talk about a crappy superhero video game.
Oof, you have a lot to choose from.
There are a lot to choose from, but why not start with what is considered the crappiest superhero video game of all time?
Can I guess the superhero?
You can. It's going to be easy.
Because his games have been notoriously terrible, and I'm going to go with Superman.
You are correct.
Ah, nice.
So, this week's retro reject is none other than Superman 64.
Oh, the worst.
Because where else are you going to start?
The stinker of all stinkers.
It really is. So let's jump into this. All right. So Superman 64 was developed.
Josh is going to like this because he's been wanting to play Superman. Even though we keep telling him no, he's been wanting to play Superman 64.
All right. So Josh, this is your last warning. Avoid at all costs. And you're about to hear why.
Go on now.
Superman 64 was developed and published by Titus Software.
Okay.
I don't know who they are.
Yeah, no.
It was only released on the N64, thankfully. Release date was May 31st, 1999 in the U.S., July 23rd, 1999 in Europe, and I guess the game was so crappy it never made its way to Japan.
Japan knew enough.
So there's your first warning. If a game is not sent to Japan, does not come out in Japan, there's a problem. Because we've over the course of our podcast, we've talked about many very strange games that came out in Japan.
Oh, have you? No doubt.
And they opted not to have Superman 64. Just going to leave that there. Okay. So the game itself was based off of the television series, Superman the Animated Series.
Which was a great show.
Which was a really good show. At the time, like Batman the Animated Series was a solid series.
Oh,
and then,
one of the best ever.
Yeah, one of the best. And then, they did a similar one with Superman, which was really good. And so they based it off of that series. This was also the first Superman game to be in 3D.
Okay.
So, so there was a lot to be excited about because, you're actually going to get to be Superman in 3D, like do what Superman does and fly around, all this stuff.
Be super.
Right, and be super. So in the game, the concept of the game, Superman has to rescue his friends from Lex Luthor, who's trapped them in a virtual version of Metropolis. So basically, it to equate it, it's like being trapped in a virtual void, someplace nobody wants to be.
Oh my God!
And so Superman has to go.
Superman
has to go rescue his friends from virtual Metropolis. Okay,
mm-hmm.
There are 14 levels in the game.
Oh my God! Really?
Nobody really knows this because after level 1, you don't want to go any further.
This is very true.
So they have 7 levels that are called ride levels and 7 levels that are called maze levels. The ride levels are the ones that are outdoors in Metropolis, and you basically alternate between flying Superman through a series of colored rings to complete it, and completing a time objective. So like protecting a civilian, or defeating all the enemies or something. So, but that's it. The ring thing, though, it's like when you're flying through the rings, you get a time limit in between each ring. The time limit ranges from 1 to 10 minutes, which shows you like how far the next ring could possibly be.
Yeah.
And then, of course, this makes total sense for a character like Superman. If you miss 3 rings or run out of time, you got to start all over again from the beginning.
Oh, God.
Because that's what Superman would do. He'd be like, oh, yeah, no, I missed that ring. Ran out of time. I guess I got to start over.
He just falls out of the sky like a bird.
Yes. So those were the ride levels.
Oh, those were oh, yeah.
Those were the ride levels. The maze levels, Superman, what happens is Superman's uncovered one of his friends from within one of Luthor's outposts. Mm-hmm. And then he has to escape the outpost and defeat a boss. So
I didn't even know there were bosses in this game.
Yeah, so it's like action, adventure, and puzzle solving combined in it. Now, why was this game so bad? So apparently, development of the game was hampered by constraints from DC Comics and Warner Brothers.
Really?
They had a lot. Yes, they had a lot of oversight into the game, and as a result of it, the game wound up looking unfinished and poor.
Sure does.
Yeah. So, in fact, it was so bad. Blue Sky Software wanted to redo the game for PlayStation, but as they were trying to do it, Titus's rights to the Superman license expired, so they canceled it.
Oh, no.
So this could have actually wound up on another system.
Oh, thank God it wasn't.
Yeah. So getting back to the Warner Brothers and DC thing. So in an interview in 2011, in an email interview with somebody who worked on the game, they basically said that DC Comics and Warner Brothers mandated a ton of like rules for the game design. Like they actually pointed out that they actually told Titus Software that they had to limit the use of Superman's powers in the game. What? And they had to set the game in a virtual world so that Superman wasn't fighting real people. They didn't want the concept of Superman fighting real people in a real metropolis, which is why we got the virtual metropolis.
Oh, my God.
But basically, due to Warner Brothers and DC like constantly making changes and mandating all these different things, the game's release was delayed by 6 months because of the approval process they had to go through.
Wow.
And less than 10% of the original design of the game was implemented in the final product.
Really?
So what you're seeing in the game was only 10% of what they actually made.
Wow.
Yep.
That explains so much.
Yep. Which is crazy. So, and this was a piece of information that I was actually I was surprised to read and it kind of makes me feel a little sad too, because they actually used sound bites of the voice actors from the Superman animated series in the game, like the actual voices from the show.
Oh yeah, I think
were in the game. So, and we're not talking about like no-name people. We're talking about Tim Daly as Superman, Dana Delaney as Lois Lane, Malcolm McDowell as Metallo, Michael Ironside as Darkseid. Like they had some serious heavy-hitting audio in this game in terms of the voice acting. Huh. And then, of course, here's a little tidbit that's interesting about this. But despite how awful the game was received, Superman was a top seller in North America during June of 1999 when it was released.
I believe that because no one knew yet. They just saw a Superman game, finally on N64. Let's go get it.
And then a month later in July, Titus Software announced that Superman was the 3rd best-selling game for the N64.
Wow.
As of July 19, a month later.
And the internet was out, so we should have known better.
We definitely should have known better. So, different types of awards that this game has received. Haha. Yuck, yuck. EGM, which is Electronic Gaming Monthly.
That was a great magazine.
Listed at number 7 in the 20 worst games of all time.
Okay.
Let's see. G4. Do you remember the channel G4?
Oh yeah, Olivia Munn. That's where she started.
They had listed this game 2nd in the top 10 worst games of the 90s.
Wow. I wonder what number 1 was.
Nintendo Power Magazine rated it the worst game on a Nintendo system, period. Period. It's the only claim to fame that Virtual Boy can have.
What?
Because there's something worse than it. And it's Superman 64.
Where's the hashtag Superman sucks?
No, it's hashtag VB sucks. Get it right. Game Trailers named it number 1 of the worst game of all. The worst. They named it the worst game of all time in 2006, just ahead of ET for Atari 2600.
Wow!
That's the company that this thing keeps.
That's rough.
The Gamers edition of the Guinness World Records in 2009. It was the lowest rated superhero game ever.
I believe that.
And speaking of ratings, Electronic Gamers Monthly, 2 out of 10.
Whoa.
Game Informer, 1.25 out of 10.
What?
GameSpot, 1.3 out of 10. IGN, 3.4 out of 10. What were you thinking? Nintendo Power, 4.7 out of 10.
Whoa.
I think they were trying to save face at that point.
I think so.
N64 Magazine rated it at 14%. And Game Revolution gave it a solid F.
There you go.
Let's see. What else can I tell you about this? Watch Mojo ranked it the worst superhero video game ever.
Okay.
And I think we can stop right there. I think that's enough beating up on this thing. But anyway,
that's all we can take. I'm feeling lightheaded just going through this.
No, I know. So anyway, and at the end of the day, you know what? Basically, do not play this game. This is. I feel like running this as a retro reject is more like a PSA. At this point, this is a PSA for all of you retro gamers out there. If you ever have any inkling of buying or trying Superman 64, this is your warning. You know, it's like the old Johnny Depp commercial with the egg. You know, this is your brain. This is your brain on drugs. This is your brain on Superman 64. So, Josh, you have been warned by an official segment, an entire segment of the Retro Gamers this week. So this has been your Retro Reject, Superman 64.
All right, so we got another bumper here for everyone. This is pretty interesting, actually. We're going to stick with Superman. You know, not everything Superman does is bad in the video game world. Superman has some good accolades. Accolades? No.
Really? He does?
Accolades? There we go. Yes. In fact, and I didn't think it was him. I thought it was someone else. But the first official superhero game ever licensed for a home console for video gaming is Superman on the Atari 2600 way back in 1979.
And you know what's funny? I had that game. It was bad.
Well, bad for 2017 or bad for 1979?
No, I thought it was bad for 1979. Of course, I played it in the mid-'80s, but still, it was bad. It was really bad. So, yeah,
Superman on the Atari 2600. I could have sworn Spider-Man was the one to take that one, but no.
I actually thought it was going to be... I thought it was Spider-Man also, because I had that game as well, and I thought that came out first, but nope.
So, Superman, congratulations. You are the oldest superhero on a video game console. Atari 2600, 1979. That's this week's Retro Records.
And this week in gaming! What do we got, bro?
All right, Larry, I think we know what time it is based on that sound.
Always. I wonder if we'll ever get to the point where that just becomes normal to us and we just don't even... We just walk past it.
No, that will never be normal. Josh has officially succeeded in making something completely abnormal for this segment forever.
Thanks.
So, thank you, Josh. I love it.
What do we got this week?
All right, so this week we're going to start all the way back in 1981.
Oh, okay.
And it in Japan, it was the Game & Watch widescreen version.
These one a week. This is going to become its own segment.
I know. Game & Watch widescreen of Chef.
Oh, that's actually a fun game.
Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
But you know what? The more we do This Week in Gaming, the more I realize that there were a lot more Game & Watch games than I remember.
Oh, absolutely. There's a ton of them. You're right.
There's a ton of them. And if you want to go buy one right now, they're super expensive.
Yeah.
So, yes, Game & Watch Edition, Chef, 1981.
Cool.
We're going to skip over 1982 because nothing came out.
All right.
And go to 1983. And here's a good anniversary to keep. So this is the 34th anniversary on the Famicom in Japan of the original Mario Brothers.
Really? Oh, the original Mario Brothers.
Mario Brothers.
God,
yes,
I
not
hate
Super
that
Mario Brothers. Mario Brothers.
Okay. Happy anniversary.
Yep, the one you don't like.
No, not at all. The physics in it kill me.
Yeah, I enjoyed it though. We're gonna go through the '80s in Japan for the most part.
Alrighty.
Because apparently nothing came out in the U.S. So in 1984, this week on the Famicom, we got Galaxian.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Yep. Jumping to 1985, also on the Famicom. I don't know this game. It's called Battle City.
Nah, doesn't sound familiar,
Never
but it sounds fun.
Yeah, I hear Battle City. I think the Warriors or Godzilla Mothra. I don't know, something like that. But Battle City, 1985.
Okay.
1986 on the Famicom, Super Pitfall.
Ooh, that's a rough one.
I never played Super Pitfall. I know Pitfall from Atari, but not Super Pitfall.
I used to rent it often for some reason. I don't know why, because it was so terrible, but I definitely had my fair share of Super Pitfall.
All right. Fair enough. I never played it. Okay, so now this is going to be fun. 1987 on the Famicom in Japan. No. Hold.
Okay. Pause for effect.
Pause. No. Let's not pause for effect. I'm just trying to read the word.
Oh.
The game is called The Magic of Scheherazade or something like that. I have no idea how to say that word. Scheherazade.
Okay.
All right, and that's not even the best one on the list because in 1988.
Oh, 1 year later.
On the Sharp X 68000.
Cha-ching!
We got Todo Ryunosuke Tante Niki Kohakyuro no Yugan.
Wow. Can you fit that all on the box? That's what I'm trying to figure out on the box art.
Well, you got to remember, if it's written in Japanese, it's shorter.
That is true. So Toto. So it's either about Wizard of Oz or 80s band.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. But anyway, that's what came out.
It was about the rains in Africa.
Yep. 1989 was a key moment in gaming for Brazil.
Oh, wow.
Because in 1989... What the hell was that?
Isn't that what they do? Like, la la la, Brazil, la 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 la. I don't know. Rio de Janeiro? No,
don't ever do that again.
Charo?
1989 in Brazil, they got the Sega Master System.
Wow, in 89. Okay.
Yeah, in 89. That was around the time the Genesis was coming out here.
Yeah.
So, a little behind.
Yeah, that's all right.
The end of the world.
It's all right.
It's okay. It's all good. We love you, Brazil. In 1990, on the TurboGrafx 16 in Japan, Legendary Axe 2, which to us is Golden Axe 2.
Yes. Great game.
Awesome game. In fact, I just saw a video online of a company that was which remade Golden Axe. It's like a 3D.
You posted that.
Yeah, I posted it. It looks amazing.
Yeah, right?
I would play that in a heartbeat.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Moving on to 1991 on the Sharp X 68000 again.
Twofer. Nice.
Twofer. We got Draken.
Why does that sound familiar?
I don't know.
Okay.
Is it related to Dokken, the 1980s hair band?
Oh, wow. Where'd you pull that one out of? Holy cow.
I don't know. Draken. I don't know. Is Draken Dragon? I don't know. Anyway, moving on. To 1992 on DOS, we got Barracuda, Secret Mission 1.
Oh, Barracuda. Okay.
No, not related to that at all.
No, heart? No. Okay.
All right, things are going to pick up a little bit now. 1993 on the Super Nintendo, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Tournament Fighters.
That was actually a fun game.
I enjoyed that.
That was a good game, yeah. Usually when a series goes to a fighting series, it tends to trail off, like Castlevania. But Turtles didn't do that. Turtles, they did it successfully.
Oh, yeah, that reminds me. I bought that Castlevania Fighters game. I have to try it.
Good luck.
Or at least I think I did. Somewhere.
Castlevania Judgment?
Yeah, is that what it was? Yeah, I think I bought it for like a whopping $2.50.
That sounds about right.
Yep. Moving on to 1994 on the Neo Geo CD.
Ooh.
Fatal Fury 1.
Oh, wow.
Fatal Fury 2.
Oh.
And Fatal Fury Special.
Oh.
Apparently in 94, this week in retro gaming history, there was a whole bunch of Neo Geo games that came out.
Oh, they just all released them in one shot?
They just released like a whole bunch in one shot.
Why wait? Just send them all out to the market.
Yeah, it's just like, here you go, pay $200, goodbye.
Dunsky.
Moving on to 1995.
Okay.
On the PlayStation.
Okay.
NBA Jam Tournament Edition.
Oh, love NBA Jam. I just found
I was never a big basketball fan, but NBA Jam was so much fun.
It was just such that arcade. All it was, just an arcade feel to it. I had it on Super Nintendo. Later on, I actually got it on Wii. Later on, it did come out on PS3 as well, but I forgot it came out on PlayStation. So cool.
Well, moving on to 1996 in Japan, we got the arcade version of X-Men vs. Street Fighter.
Oh, okay.
I didn't realize it was that old.
Oh yeah, that game.
But then I also have to remember that it was actually a sequel to the X-Men Children of the Atom game.
It was, yep.
Because that was the first one to use that concept, and then they came out with X-Men Street Fighter, and it was a lot of fun.
Amazing.
And then of course we got Marvel. From there we got Marvel vs. Capcom.
Yep. I'm kind of interested in playing the new one, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite.
Yeah, so am I, but who has time?
Very true.
I know I don't. In 1997 on Windows in Japan, Virtua Fighter 2.
Okay, all right, good series.
Yeah, no, Virtua Fighter 2 was the one that I always played in college because they had the arcade there. It was awesome. Yeah. Yep. Moving on to 1998 on the Sony PlayStation, Parasite Eve.
Oh, that's such a good game.
Yeah, I remember you used to play that one.
Yep. God, I haven't played that forever.
Yep. Jumping a year later on the Sony PlayStation, a game I made it. One of the few games that I made it all the way to like almost the end, and I stopped. I don't know why. I got bored. But excellent game, 1999, Final Fantasy VIII.
Ah, so good.
I think the problem was when I got to that point, it didn't live up to how. To me, the story didn't live up to the hype that Final Fantasy VII was, and I just stopped and never went back. Which was a shame because I was on disc 4, I think, or 3, or whatever the last disc was.
You know, it's funny you mentioned the final. I don't know if it's still going on at the time this drops, but on the PS3, it looks like all the Final Fantasies that are available, the PlayStation versions, are on sale right now, where you can download them on the PS3.
Wow, you can still do that on the PS3?
Yeah, they're still open. You can still download virtual console games for the Wii through the Wii U. Well,
I can't right now. I have the black screen of death.
But with your regular Wii, you should be able to hook up to the internet and still access and download virtual console games because the Wii has better virtual console games.
And I will do that as soon as I receive my 8-in-1 composite switcher that I just ordered on Amazon while we were recording this podcast.
Awesome.
Moving on to 2000. On the Sega Dreamcast, we got NFL 2K1.
Okay, yep, that was the 2K series was really good.
The NFL 2K, the 2K series back then on the Sega Dreamcast were awesome. I had NHL and NFL.
Yep.
And those were probably the only football games I really played on. Those are the only football games I really played.
I think the 2K series purely started on the Dreamcast.
I believe you are correct.
2K series took off phenomenally.
Yes. 2001 on the PlayStation 2, Dave Mirra Freestyle BMX 2.
Okay.
It was similar to the Tony Hawk Pro Skater series, but with bikes.
There you go.
Yay! 2002 on the Game Boy Advance. Larry, you tell me about this game. Mega Man Zero.
Oh, I love that game, Mega Man Zero. It's funny because I also now have on the DS, you get the compilation of all 4 Mega Man Zero games. It's nice. Mega Man Zero actually debuted in one of the Mega Man X games, if not like Mega Man 8 or something like that. But basically, it's a Mega Man game, but Zero, instead of using a gun, Zero has a sword. Oh, cool. That's really the difference in the gameplay. I think there's a couple other differences, but that's mostly it.
Bless you.
Wow, that came out of nowhere.
Yeah, edit that out.
But yeah, that's pretty much what it is. It's Mega Man with a sword.
Moving on to 2003. Metal Warrior 4, Agents of Metal 4.
Wait.
Metal Warrior 4, Agents of Metal.
Okay.
4.
Okay.
The Commodore 64.
Okay. So, Agents... Wait. I want to do this one more time.
Metal Warrior 4.
Metal Warrior 4. The number 4?
The number 4.
Okay. Agents of Metal.
Agents of Metal.
Is it the same metal as the first metal? Like MEDAL or MEDLE?
No, METAL.
Okay, I misspelled both of those. And then the second 4, is that F-O-R, F-O-U-R, the number 4?
It's the number 4.
So it repeats itself. Okay, that's what I was checking. Okay.
Yes. The title repeats itself. It's Metal Warrior 4 Agents of Metal.
On top of Commodore 64.
Commodore 64, yes. Got all that. Can I move? I'm now going to move on.
Okay.
2004. On Xbox, PlayStation 2, and Windows, we got Silent Hill 4, The Room.
Ooh.
Silent Hill. I played the first Silent Hill game. I never finished it, but I really liked it. But then didn't move on with the series.
Yeah, I don't think the sequels. I mean, they were popular, but they never really captured as good as that first one was.
Yes. Moving on to 2005, Xbox and PlayStation 2, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Lockdown.
Okay. Great series.
Those are really popular games. Yep. And 2006 on Windows, my favorite game title of this week in gaming. Mr. Smoozles Goes Nutso.
What? Is that a Dr. Seuss game?
No idea. But Mr. Smoozles Goes Nutso on Windows, and that completes this week in gaming.
Oh, man. What a week it was. All right. Excellent. Good episode. Good week. Good stuff. And, we got the superhero. I like your alliteration. Your love of alliteration really continued there with Superhero September.
It's Superhero September, everybody.
So be on the lookout every Wednesday. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm kicking it off with Batman on the NES this Wednesday.
Yep. Next week I'll be able to let everybody know what Nintendo says about my Wii U.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Also,
probably add to the further complaints that I always have.
Well, that's true. We're picking up steam. Check us out, facebook.com/RetroGamersPodcast, Instagram @the_RetroGamers, our website where you can access all the podcasts, theretrogramers.com. And of course, you can follow us. Everyone can follow us on iTunes, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, YouTube. We're all over the place. We're like a bad rash.
That's true. Oh, or if you want, just track us down in person. We're easy to find.
Yeah, because we will promote ourselves like no other.
No, you will.
Oh, absolutely. In a heartbeat. God, I love hearing
I won't. I'll just ask how they found me because I've been in witness protection for years.
Ant, be safe. Be careful out there in L.A. Hope everything's safe and okay where you are or will be.
Well, I hope so too. There's the fires are raging and
squadron of helicopters above your house.
I'm celebrating that by taking my cousin to Universal Studios.
Good, there you go. That's how you do it. Just leave it behind. So, but no, seriously, be safe.
Well, if I left it behind, I would just go to Vegas.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Be well, and we'll catch each other next week. And that's pretty much. Have you got anything else happening besides heading to Universal?
No, but we're going to Universal, and then I don't know what we're doing tomorrow. We're doing something tomorrow. I can't think that far in advance. I think we may hit up a Dodger game, and then he's out.
Cool.
He's out on Tuesday.
Okay.
And then this week, my pod arrived from New York, so I will be picking up all of my stuff from New York.
Yes.
And inside that pod is an original Commodore 64. Very excited about that.
Nice.
I'm going to have a Commodore 64 and nothing to hook it up to. And I'm also filming in my place next weekend. So
okay.
I'm filming a short film.
Okay.
So that should be interesting. So lots to talk about next week that are not retro gaming related.
Works for me. And with that, folks, have a good week. Everyone have a good week. And check us out next week right here on The Retro Gamers.